Oh, hi everybody, welcome to Aimee Nolte Music. One of the most often asked questions that I have lately is about how you listen to a recording and then figure out what the chords are. Like if you hear a song that you like and you don't want to go buy the music, how do you figure out what the chords are and write them down so then you've got it and you can play it yourself? So that's what we're going to talk about today. What we're going to do is we're going to take a very easy song that I think everybody knows, figure out the chords to it. That song will be Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles. And then we're going to take She's Always a Woman by Billy Joel, which is another song that I think everybody knows, but a more difficult song to figure out. And we're just going to figure them out. First thing I do is I take my staff paper. And if you don't have staff paper, you can do it on regular paper, but it sure looks a lot nicer if you have this. And you know, the staff paper that I always use, I just order it from Amazon. It looks like that. It doesn't cost very much at all. And I just have my workbook. And then, you know, I've got all these worksheets I've made for you guys in here. And then they're just there forever. And I just put it up with my other ones. And anytime that I need to go reference it, I've got it all in a book. So I like that. Anyway, four bars per system. All right? Sketch that out real quick, but you see, 4 bars per system. Just first thing you do. The next thing is that you probably need to be sitting by your piano or your guitar, or whatever your instrument is, probably piano or guitar, to figure out a song so that you have access to multiple notes at the same time for chords. Next thing you have to do is realize that it's not a trick, it's a skill. So I'm going to ask you to do a lot of singing while you watch this, and I'm going to do a lot of singing. And the problem that people have often is that they'll listen to something, because I've done this with students in lessons before. I'll say, let's figure out the chords to this song, and we'll listen. And as soon as they hear something, they just start poking for notes, trying to find it. And I always say, do not touch the piano until I tell you to touch the piano. And then I say, first thing we're going to do is we're going to listen to it, and we're going to try to sing the bass note. So here we go, Eleanor Rigby. This is from a live performance at the White House. All right, it starts out right there. So we're not writing the melody today. We're not doing that. We're just writing the chords. So what I'm going to do is listen for the lowest note I can hear. All right? He's going to repeat it, so I'll let it go. Here it comes. And I listen for it, and then I sing it. And I think that's the bass note. Then I find it on the piano. And it's a C. So the first thing I'm going to do is write down a C right above here. Just a C. I don't know if it's major or minor yet, but I'm going to try. Kind of sounds sad, doesn't it? Maybe I'll try minor first. C minor? No, it doesn't work. Is it major? Yes, that's what it is. It's C major. So I'm just going to leave it like that. It's just the letter C. Okay. Now we count. Oh, look at all the lonely. That's 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. People, and it changes. So let's listen to what that one is. You hear that? Dun, bun, 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 bun. What note is it? It's an E. I'm going to write the E down because I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I heard it really strong. No, 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 no. Okay, so we have the C. Oh, look at all the lonely people. Is it E major? That doesn't sound right at all, does it? Let's try from C major to E minor. Oh, look at all the lonely people. Yeah, that one sounds right. So you have to trust your ears, all right? You have to trust them, and you have to make little guesses. So we've got the first 2 things. We've got C major, E minor. And when I write E minor, because I'm a jazzer, I just write an E and a dash. Then we're going to count. We're going to make sure we're right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. There's the 3rd bar, E minor. Now he repeats it. So at the end of the line, I'm going to write a repeat sign. Okay, here we go. Oh, that sounds the same. It's gotta still be E minor. Oh, that's a change, isn't it? Okay, but first we're counting. So we've determined it's E minor because it sounds just the same. Look at all the lonely people. E minor. Eleanor Rigby. You can hear the instruments. They didn't change. They're just doing the same thing that they were doing on people. Eleanor Rigby. So now we've counted. We're going to write another E minor. I'm also going to write a double bar because this is really the start of the tune, I think. This is where the first verse starts. And I'm also going to write the letter A in a box. See it? So I've got my repeat sign over here. This is like the intro. Now I've got my letter A over here in the margin because that's the first verse. We've got several verses to this song, right? 3 verses, I think. So we're gonna have repeats. We don't have to write the whole thing out. Okay. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in the church where her wedding has been. And here's the change. So we're going to try to sing the next note. Oh, been, not been. So American. Da, da, da. Well, I think it's just right back to the C. Yeah, it is. So it's probably C major again. Okay, so how long do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Church where her wedding has been. That's kind of odd, actually. The E minor lasts for 3 bars. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in the church where her wedding has been, and then it changes on the 4th bar. So we've got E minor for 3 bars, C major for a bar. At least that's what we think right now. I don't know how long the C major lasts. Let's listen again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 more beats, and then the last 2 beats of that next bar are going to go right back to E minor. 3, 4. See how that looks? Here. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in the church where her wedding has been. See? So that's cool. It's a 5-bar phrase to start this song. And now it kind of starts over again, right? So we could probably write a repeat sign here if we're really lazy. Let's see. 3, 4. 3. Yeah, we can just write a repeat sign. So the first 5 bars of the verse repeat. So we make our little dots there, our little dots there. Okay, now we've got a chorus coming up. I didn't hear any change in the harmony. It just sounds a lot the same to me. So I'm going to guess that it's still one of those chords, E or C. So when it comes up and he starts saying, all the lonely people, I'm going to play an E. We'll see if it's right. C, 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 E, E. Now, I was right, because the bass note definitely stays an E, but I hear this. Did you hear it? I want to make sure that you do. Now I'm actually watching the live performance right here, so I can see that Paul McCartney never changes his chord. It's E minor the whole time. He is playing these other notes that I'm singing, but the E minor just stays the same. So, and the bass note is, but we hear these extra notes. So we've got E minor going on down here. All the lonely people, it just stays. Where do they all belong? So I'm gonna just write that. We've got E minor for days. All the lonely 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 4, 2, 3, 4, and then again. All 2, 3, only P2 for where do 3 they all belong to. So that happens. It happens for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bars. So at the top of all of those bars, I'm writing E minor. And then we're going to address these other notes that we hear, the ones that go, ah, because we know that they have to work over E minor somehow. So let's figure out what those notes are. Ah, you poke around till you find it. Ah, there it is. And then we play the E minor chord, and let's just add that to the top. And then we sing over it and see how it sounds. All the lonely. And then what's the next note? Ah, C sharp. Ah, C, B. So you can just think, if I see his hand and he never changes from E minor, then these have to be just extra notes on E minor. What if that's E minor 7 with the D on top? And then E minor 6. And then E minor natural 6. You could really just call that a C major 7 with an E on the bottom. That's probably how we'll do it, right? Because it's like a C major chord, but with an E on the bottom. And then regular E minor. So we're just gonna write E minor 7 for a bar, E minor 6 for a bar, and then we'll write C major with an E on the bottom, and then E minor, and then it repeats again. In that case, you can see all you do is just C major 7 like that with an E on the bottom, like a slash and then an E in both cases. Now, that's it for the song. So now it's the fun part. You just go back and play along with it. E minor, C, Simple Simon. I hope it's Simple Simon anyway. The hard part, and I know that I'll probably make it look easier than it is for some of you. The hard part is to hear those bass notes. If you can turn up the bass on whatever you're listening on, that'll help you to hear the bottom end. I think it's, cellos in this. You just want to listen, and then before you poke around for a note, you got to sing it. And then you find it, and then you guess with your letter, and then you guess with your flavor, if it's major or minor, whatever. All right, that's Eleanor Rigby. Let's move on to She's Always a Woman, because this is a song that I think everybody knows, but it's a little bit more difficult. This comes from a live concert in Germany in 1978. What's that? Da. First thing you do is write out your 4 bars on your music, right? First thing, I heard it. Where is it? There it is. It's an E flat. Is it major or is it minor? One thing you can do if you're not sure is you can just play. That sounds pretty good. There's the minor. You can play with it. You can, as soon as he plays those notes. Okay. E flat major. And then I hear this note. Da. But his E flat major chord still sounds the same to me. I just heard one note change. Like the G to the A flat. Da, da. So I try that, and that sounds right. It's an E flat sus. And then I think I heard him go back. I think he does that. Listen for it. Listen for those notes. Da, 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 da.
She can kill with a smile, she can wound with her eyes.
Yeah, okay, so he does that twice. E flat. One thing about this song is that it has a tricky meter. If you start trying to count it, you know that it's not in 4. It's definitely in 3. Da 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 da. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. But you don't often see 3 go by that fast. Usually, if 3 is happening that fast, you'll make it into 6/8 or 9/8 or 12/8 or something. So I don't really want to focus on meter. I'll let you know that that it changes a lot. I think the meter changes, so we're not going to really worry about it. It might be a bar 9/8 in there, but it's going to be switching all the time, and I don't really want to talk about it. And gosh, for Pete's sake, if you need to know, you can probably just Google it and find out what you can find out all of it. Who are we kidding, right? You're going to be able to Google the chords for almost anything in the world that you want. So if you're ever like not sure that you're writing them down right, just go check yourself. They're out there. Let's worry about chords. So we've got that first part. I can hear that note's on the bottom, and I don't know. I mean, you can kind of hear that this E flat is on the top. I know you can't see my hands very well. But again, this video is not about you learning to play this particular song on the piano. It's about how do we figure out chords. So we've got E flat major, E flat sus. I'm just going to write it like it's in 3 so that I don't have to bother with meter changes. And then back to E flat major, and then we're going to call it an E flat add 2. That's how I'll go about writing it. E flat add 2, it means an E flat with the 2nd degree of the scale added. It's a really common thing in pop music. E flat, F, G, B flat. Like that. E flat? Okay, he goes da, E flat, da, da. I definitely heard that D. I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna listen for what the bass note is in his left hand. I could hear it that time. And there's the D that I heard. Oh, that must be a B flat major chord. She can heal with a smile. She can... Yeah, that sounds right. B flat. Okay. So we have. She can heal with a smile. E flat. That's where our verse starts. So I'm going to write the double line. She can wound with her. That's a B flat chord. We said wound with her eyes. E flat. He's going to go back to E flat. I can hear it.
She can ruin your face with a casual.
What's that? Okay, so E flat, da 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 da, B flat, da da da, E flat, da da da, and he does it for 2 bars. Da 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 da. That was our bass note. Da da. So I'll write that A flat chord. It's A flat major. I'm not sure about those. I hear those bass notes. Ruin your A flat major faith with her casual lies. I think he keeps the A flat chord and just kind of changes the bass. But if we're ever unsure, go back and play it along with him.
And she only reveals what...
Oh, there's that D again. I'll bet it's a B flat chord because I heard that D. Yeah, that sounds right. B flat. Reveals, and then that sounds like a 1 chord, doesn't it? So E flat. What she wants. I can hear there's a harmonic change coming up in wants. So I'm going to listen really close for that bass note.
Ruin your face.
So A flat, G, F, E, G, B flat, E flat. Back to the B flat chord, the one we just played. Only reveals what she wants. That's easy. You to see, what's the melody note? It's a G. So one good thing is you can know that your next chord's going to have a G in it because it's in the melody. You just kind of want to remember that. And then when that chord comes around, you know that it's got a G in it. See if you can hear another note. Oh, I heard that note. And a G. That's a D and a G. Is it a G major? C. Yeah, I think it is. Only reveals what she onto it for 2 bars.
She hides like a child.
I heard that. That's a C. Right? She hides like a child. Since we're in the key of E flat, I'm going to guess that that C is the root of a C minor chord because C minor is the relative minor to E flat major. So we'll go back and we'll see. It's tedious work, isn't it? Back and forth.
She only reveals what she wants you to see.
There's a G major.
She hides like a child.
She hides. I'm going to try the C minor. She hides. Yeah, I think that's right. But what note is he singing? It's an F. So when we write it down, you could, if you want to be a real smarty, you could write C minor with an F in it, which is C minor 11, because the note is really strong in the melody. She hides. Right? Let's listen closely here. She hides like a child.
Wants you to see. She hides like a child, but she's always a woman.
I heard these bass notes. She hides like a child. Da 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 da. That's what I heard. She hides like a child, but she's always a woman. So let's just do all chords that are in the key of E flat major and see if they work. So C minor. She hides like a. Now B flat is our note down here, so let's try B flat major. Child, but she's now A flat major, always a woman. Those work just fine, don't they? Wants you to see 2 3 1 2 3. C minor 11, right? Hides like a child, B flat major, but she's A flat major, always a woman. B flat major. Now we've got this little thing coming up that he does where he goes dun, do, 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 do. He does some kind of a line, right? Let's listen to it.
She gonna leave.
Yeah. Da 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 da. And you find it. Da. And then you just gotta figure that it's probably just like the intro. So because I see that E flat is on top right there, and if it is like the intro, all he's going to do is change it from an E flat major to an E sus to an E flat major to an E add 2, just like he did up here, remember? So let's try that. That's a G, B flat, E flat, A flat. Yeah, that's what it is. So you don't have to actually write that down, but you can write just the same chords that were up there at the top. Then he's just going to do the same thing again. He's just going to do the same thing again because he's going to repeat a verse. It's the second A section. So you can just write a repeat sign. Then we're gonna cover the bridge, which is the coolest part of this song, I think.
She can ask for the truth,
A flat.
but she never believes. She'll take what you give her as long as it's free. She feels like a thief, but she's always a woman to me.
Here's my little mistake. It's actually going to go this far. B starts on this bar. Kind of crazy. Now, we've got a really, really nice moving bass line here. We're just going to listen to it once and see if we can sing along with it. Well, that's different, right? Listening to it is different than singing along with it. So both steps, let's listen to it once and then we'll sing along with it. I think he's got a bass viola or a cello playing all of those bass notes because I hear them really strongly. I'm going to sing them to you. Da, 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 da. Those are the first 4. See if you can hear them when you listen again. But now we figure out what they are. So C minor we already said. B flat I hear. A, F. And then B flat, A, that was the one I couldn't hit. B flat, E flat. And those are just root notes, and I've just jotted them all down. I don't know what flavor those chords are. I've just jotted down the root notes. Now, we can just go through them ourselves and try to play all chords that are in the key of E flat for a little bit, see if it works. Oh, so C minor, now maybe B flat major. Oh. Now, the next note's an A, and that is not in the key of E flat, so this is where we have a harmonic shift of some kind. We need to listen very closely to see if the chord changes on this C minor chord. Because when I do that, oh, that doesn't sound quite right. And so it makes me wonder if it keeps C minor while the B flat changes. Oh, that sounds so much nicer. I think it's right. I think it just keeps C minor with your right hand. And oh, we've got this A note. There's the melody note. It's an E flat. We've got an A and an E flat in the next chord. You can just kind of look at that and say, that looks like it's going to be F7. And then you can try it. Oh, that sounds great. So it is an F7. Sometimes you just kind of have to use your brain. You hear what the bass note is, you see what the melody note is, and you just kind of have to be a little detective to fill in the notes in between. And then the next note actually is an F. So she takes care. So that's cool. It's like 2 bars of C minor, 2 bars of F7. But the bass note changes, which is what makes it brilliant. Now we change to F7. She takes care of her. Now B flat, let's try B flat major. Self. Now remember this is just going to do the same thing. Self. When we go back and listen to it all, make sure we're right.
She can't wait if she...
That sounds like a E flat major chord for sure. Self. I think he holds on to the B flat chord all through those and doesn't change until the E flat chord. She can wait if she... So that's what I'm going to do. So it's going to be a B flat chord. Where are we? So we've got C minor, and then C minor over B flat, and then an F over A, and then an F, actually F7, right? Now B flat, we're going to keep the B flat, just put an A on the bottom. Again, we're going to keep the B flat, we're just going to put a G on the bottom, and then when it gets to E flat, we're actually going to change to an E flat chord. A flat now coming up. So let's go back and put it in context. She can wait if she wants. She's a da-da-da-da. A flat, here we go. Same thing, I'm just going to keep that A flat chord. We're going to keep the same thing we've been doing. Put a G on the bottom, just keep the A flat chord. Same. So since this is an A flat chord on top of an F, and we've already written an F, let's just call it F minor. F minor 7. She's ahead of, let's try a B flat major chord, because we're going right back to E flat. Ahead of her time. All right, that was right. I think I've beat a dead horse here. It feels like it's too long to keep doing this. But you can see how it goes. And if you're new at it, it can be kind of tedious, but it's pretty rewarding as you go through and figure these out, and then you can just feel like, I figured these out by myself, and then it's a good feeling. You go back and then you play it along with the recording, and if at any time what you have written down sounds like a clash, you're just going to go back and fix it. I know it was kind of long and tedious. I'm sorry about that. But that's what it is. It's not easy. So I feel you on that. If you're having trouble with this kind of thing, I get it. When I'm actually transcribing chords, I go faster than that, because I'm not explaining as I go, and I just can kind of trust my ear. But that's how we do it. It's just listening, singing, poking around till you find it, taking educated guesses based on the melody and the bass notes that you can hear. If you get stuck, you just go to Google and check yourself, see what other people have come up with. It's not really a secret, it's just some hard work and developing the skill. So the more that you do it, the easier it will be. And you should start with easy songs. Beatles songs from early in their career, those are good ones to start with. Any early rock and roll songs are good ones to start with, like Buddy Holly songs or Chuck Berry or Elvis, any of those guys. Old country western songs, that's an easy place to start, because a lot of times you're just dealing with 1 and 4 and 5 chords. If you love She's Always a Woman by Billy Joel and you want to figure it out, but you've never figured out a song before, don't start there. That's like starting with a 3-point shot if you're a basketball player, right? You gotta start with some layup drills, son. All right, thanks for being with me today. I'll see you next time on Aimee Nolte Music.